And I'm back with live action Beauty and the Beast, aka I'm gonna redesign Belle's dress from the live action remake because, let's face it, Belle's dress, along with a lot of other things, were the start of the downfall of these remakes. Anyway, I can't believe it's taken me 7 years to talk about this disappointment of a movie. Now, don't get me wrong, the visuals are very pretty and the costumes for everyone but Belle look amazing. And yeah, when the trailers dropped for it, I was genuinely excited. I mean, Cinderella was pretty good, so I had pretty good hopes Beauty and the Beast was gonna be just as good. Plus, it's kind of my favorite movie. I've always loved Belle growing up. She was such an interesting character when you pay attention. Like, she's seen as odd by her town, mainly due to her father, but also because she's interested in reading. And as a kid who was a big book person, I loved that about her, along with her not being interested in Gaston, even though he was basically the most loved man in the village. And I really liked that she never said it wasn't cause she wasn't interested in love or that he wasn't attractive to her. She just says she wants someone kind, which I think was a nice message for girls. But yeah, to say I was excited was an understatement, though I did have some issues with the cast, mainly Emma Watson. Yes, she looks pretty close to Belle, but her singing, I wasn't so sure she'd be able to pull it off, and I was right, seeing as they had to auto-tune her most of the time. Like, if you're getting upstaged by the literal background people, then maybe you find someone who can sing. Also, her now being an inventor like her dad, while makes some sense, just came off weird with the way Emma portrayed the character. The mother stuff was weird too. I know Disney has a thing for dead mothers, but in the movie, it was a bit much. I get they were trying something different, but I don't think it worked the way they wanted. Everything else though was fine. Plus, unlike Snow White, there wasn't any outside issue other than Emma spreading misinformation on corsets, which I like to think that the reason behind all that is because she fucked up the dress. And speaking of the dress, what the fuck happened? How did this inspire this? Oh, that's why. Okay, I'ma just say it, but I'm a firm believer actors should be seen, not heard, when it comes to the costumes. Yeah, they can say it's too tight or too long or like the barest of simple opinions, but I feel they shouldn't give any input on the design, because this right here is what happens when you let someone with zero knowledge of costumes say something. Now, I know the original dress isn't time period accurate, which is fine, it's animated, but if the live action is gonna go out of its way to give everyone period costumes, then I expect the Belle dress to be built the same way. But no, they went with this very sad looking dress, and it's crazy that the person who designed it had the balls to say, what was important was the movement of the dress. Lies. Cinderella's dress was just as big and full as a traditional French Rococo dress and moved beautifully. And again, I'm fine with them not going 100% period accurate, but this dress has like nothing to even hint to the time period or original. For one, Belle's dress is gold, not solid yellow, so not sure why they didn't use gold satin instead of, now they're real proud of this one, yellow dyed silk organza. Also, the shape is so wrong on so many levels. How are you going to give Belle a A-line skirt when everyone else has circle skirts? And even worse, how is there no petticoat? Like, look how flat the dress is. If they're not going to do the crazy wide width cage skirt, then at least make it fluffy. Again, like, I'm gonna keep going back to Cinderella, like, it can be done low key. I think Emma was just lazy since these dresses can be heavy. Anyway, the layering is also super sad, as the French loved to overlayer in like super elaborate ways. I'm also disappointed there's no detail, like no ribbons, no flowers, no lace, nothing other than the tiny gold appliques you can't see very well. Where's the pizzazz? Where's the drama? Don't make a French-inspired fairy tale if you're not gonna bring the drama. And the bodice. I'll give it to them. The shape is correct. It's just everything else. Again, the lack of embellishments. I get Bella's a simple person. But if memory serves, she's at the prince's castle. So all the gowns in the castle probably belong to a family member or member of the court. So her dress should have more embellishments. And yeah, I'm aware the live action goes out of its way to make her dress, but they're using dresses from the singer's wardrobe. And look how she's dressed. So What's the excuse, Disney? Anyway, the design of the bodice is just super sad. The fabric used kind of makes the top look cheap. The cut doesn't help either. The layers of the fabric look like this. Can't really remember the name, but yeah, the lack of sleeves is also super disappointing. Again, they didn't need to make it period accurate, but due to everyone wearing period clothes, it still breaks my brain Belle's dress wasn't given the same treatment. I mean, look how out of place she looks. The prince has more drip than her. Also, I hate that this is just another thing to add to the simple girl/girl boss checklist, where these types of girls don't need extravagant or super princessy dresses like we do, or at least I do. I mean, I dress like Adam Sandler 24/7, but give me an opportunity to wear a ball gown and I'm frothing at the mouth to wear it. So let's put Belle in a dress that she deserves. Okay, since the live action movie is set in France in the Rococo era, aka mid-18th century, I structured the dress around that, which means big ass wide skirt and crazy amount of decorations, as decoration was abundant back then. Dresses became architectural constructions with lace, ruffles, ribbons, ruching, and silk flower embellished gowns, creating a frivolous and flirtatious look, which is kind of what I did. So her skirt is a combination of a basket skirt and a hoop skirt, because while I love the wide hip style, which was more old school and more royalty based, as a lot of them were made for court, but it having a flat back isn't all that nice to look at. So yeah, I added some fluff. I also made the dress similar to Marie Antoinette's court dress, just without the sack back. I'll add one later. It's basically just a long cape-like veil. Anyway, I wanted to keep the dress somewhat simple yet royal, since she is borrowing a dress from a long time ago. So instead of splitting the fabric, I stuck to one layer but added gold embellishments, or more specifically metallic lace trimming with beaded gold jewels and a metallic lace hem. The style goes all the way to her bodice, which has a square neckline, which is a distinctive for the 18th century. Her bodice is a mantua, which is just a dress made from the same fabrics as the bottom layer. I also gave her mid-length sleeves, as was the style back then, with golden thick metallic lace trim with embroidery and 3 layers of extra long lace to give off that royal vibe. And like, see how nice that looks compared to the live action dress? Like, the lack of sleeves drives me crazy, because in the end it makes the dress look so modern, which drives me even crazier when everyone else is dressed in period costumes. And the fact the design department even says they base their costumes around the era, like, ugh! And yet we got this. I'm cool. As for her stomacher, the decorative one, not the corset one, though usually highly decorative with bows or decorative lace, I figured with the gold going over it, I didn't need to add extra detail other than the hemmed lace at the top. I also gave her a choker to accentuate her neck. A choker back then was seen as extremely hot. Bodice ripping, if you will. Whereas for the extra added detail, I gave her silk roses, mainly for 2 reasons. One, because they symbolize love, and I wanted to show that Belle has fallen for the prince by the time they dance together, and 2, because the prince is running out of time due to his curse being around a rose losing its petals. Plus, I think it would be a nice/sad moment when she talks about going to help her father, and he looks at her and the roses and has to choose what's more important to him, her or the curse, you know? Okay, for the hair, I didn't want to go too big or too over the top, but I did try to keep it more formal by curling it a bit and putting it up more. I kept the shape pretty close to how it would be worn, but obviously I couldn't do the white wig thing, as I don't think any would have survived the years till Belle showed up, and I don't think she would have worn one anyway, or powdered her hair. She seems more of a naturalist kind of person. But to keep with the style of extravagance and coquetry styled hair, I did add roses again as a highlight to her love and time running out. Now, as for color, I know Belle's dress is gold, and I made a fuss about the live action dress being yellow, but pastel shades define the Rococo aesthetic. So I did make her dress pastel yellow, and if this was made into a real dress, I would use silk to give it that shine, though I did use other shades of yellow to help her not look so plain, along with adding the pinkish red roses to her dress to break up some of the yellow. Also, I did make her taller and gave her more soft, sharp features, you know, something to make her stand out a bit more. I mean, I can't accurately say what people looked like back then, as a lot of the paintings give women very soft and round features, but I love this painting specifically, so I kind of based Belle's features around hers. I also made her tanner, as she isn't originally royalty or comes from money, so she's tanner now from spending time outside and even has freckles to reflect that. Her makeup is also very soft, just soft glossy lips and some soft blush. I also did make her eyes green. I know they're more hazel in the movie, but I wanted her eyes and hair to complement each other more noticeably, you know, really give off the vibe of nature. And that's about it. I would have done more accessories, but I think the simpler look is nicer and more accurate. Plus, it's probably better that she doesn't have accessories, considering the accessories we got in the movie do not look good. Like, the necklace does not look like it's a part of the castle. I don't know what bullshit they're spewing, but like, it should have been a rose, you know, the thing that's important to the story. Though, low-key, how cool would it have been if Gaston stole the rose? That'd be kind of fun to see, and would be a fun new element to the movie. Anyway, again, I don't really have many issues with the actual movie itself. I think the set, music, and costumes are all done very well. It's just Belle that's the problem, or I guess Emma Watson, as she was the main reason Belle's wardrobe is so lackluster, as she pushed a lot of her own personal views into making the costumes for Belle, including changing the character into being more active, which, like, she already is active, just not like the other princesses. She's more mature and sophisticated. She likes to read and hold conversations. Sure, I like the added point of her wanting to see the places she's read about. That's a nice way to show she's interested in more than just reading. But having her be this girl boss inventor just kind of ignored all the great things we already had with Belle. Also, the corset thing pissed me off. Again, if a corset fits properly and is worn properly, there shouldn't be an issue. If the corset is uncomfortable, you're doing something wrong. Again, it's basically old-timey bras. Even the men wore them. So enough with the misinformation. The whole point of a corset is to give the dress its structure, so when you don't wear one, your dress ends up looking lumpy. Like this! But yeah, this dress was a huge disappointment to me, and I'm sure a few others, and doesn't reflect the rest of the movie in a historical way by trying to modernize it, which was not needed since it just distracts and confuses people like myself. At the end of it, it's just one huge disappointment and kind of the marking to the descent into more sad and disappointing live action remakes that we do not need. Anyway, I am super happy with the design. I also feel so much better now. I've had so much rage for this dress for so long, so thank you for letting me vent. Anyway, next video will be live action Ariel and then Aurora or Alice. We'll see. Completely forgot they were a thing, so yeah. But anyway, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Really helps out the channel and me. I hope you all have a super fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!